Okay, so NXT TakeOver 30. Overall, kind of a mixed bag. By the way, if you're expecting me to make a whole bunch of Beyond Thunderdome jokes, sorry, they didn't do this at the Thunderdome. They did this at Full Sail University. It was kind of nice to see them finally get out of the Performance Center, but yeah, it was basically just the same setup. The ramp leads down to the ring. It's the shot on with the hard camera, plexiglass, a few people in the stands, mainly Performance Center people. So yeah, it wasn't that much different. We did get the return of Corey Graves on NXT commentary with Vic Joseph, and Beth Phoenix, who remotes in on Zoom, I guess. Mauro Ranallo, I believe it's because he called the boxing last night for Showtime, so I don't think it's a major thing. He's probably just tired. But yeah, again, okay. It was kind of nice to see Corey Graves back on NXT, where he seemed to fit a bit more naturally than he has on the main roster shows, but still. We open up with our kickoff show match, which is a triple threat tag team match. The winners getting the number one contenders for the tag team championships against Imperium. It's Legado del Fantasma, Breezango, Oni Lorcan, and Danny Burch against each other. And right off the bat, Raul Mendoza goes after Tyler Breeze, who was sitting on the apron. He was not starting off the match. It was actually Fandango who was doing it, but Mendoza hits a big running kick, which knocks Breeze off the apron. Fandango knocked Mendoza off the top rope and then hit a crucifix bomb, sending him outside the ring onto the others. Mendoza came back in. He hit a corkscrew plancha to the outside of the ring. Danny Burch blind tag Oni Lorcan and get a big drop kick on Joaquin Wilde. This was a really fast-paced match, so they were just kind of all trying to get their stuff in because they only had about 20 or so minutes, and I think the match itself only went about 10. So yeah, it was pretty quick. Basically, the final bit, Breeze hit the supermodel kick on Oni Lorcan for the 3 count and the victory. And yeah, we're going to get kind of this motif throughout the night of things that are starting to really rub me wrong about NXT right now. I'm not too enthused by the current product. There's some good, but there's also a lot of not good that's starting to really creep in. And I think it's been creeping in over the last year, but I'll slowly get to that. Probably get to that at the end where I can elaborate on it more. Moving on to the show proper, we have Finn Balor versus Timothy Thatcher. Right off the bat, Balor tried to jump Thatcher right after the bell rang, but he got taken down. Balor tried to put on an armbar, but Thatcher blocked that, started targeting Balor's surgically repaired shoulder. He torqued Balor's knee. Balor countered out of a bow and arrow attempt into a pin, but Thatcher kicked out. Thatcher called it a roll-up into a Kimura. Balor hit his basement drop kick, he hit his double stomp, he hit a Pele kick. He went for the 1916, but he couldn't quite get all of it and only got a 2 count. Thatcher was really locking on the holds at this point. He dodged a coup de grace attempt and locked on a half crab. Balor fought out, locked on an octopus stretch, but Thatcher fought out of that and put on an ankle lock. But then Balor countered out, did something to at least knock Thatcher down enough to hit the coup de grace and then hit the 1916 for the 3 count of the victory. And yeah, good job blowing this, guys. Timothy Thatcher should have won this match because you need to start building up new stars. Again, this is the big problem I've had with NXT is we're getting a lot of main roster retreads. We got Balor, we got Breezango. It's just, again, guys who have been on the main roster and been over on the main roster. So why aren't they on the main roster? You're just making this seem Bush League now. It's like, oh, these guys were busts, let's send them down here. And not only that, but you make them seem like more, you make your new guys look weak by not putting them over. You couldn't put Damian Priest over Finn Balor. You couldn't put Johnny Gargano, the guy you called Johnny Takeover over Finn Balor. And now you couldn't put Timothy Thatcher over Finn Balor. Again, guys who need the victory, they need to be built up because they're supposed to be the next generation. Yeah, you can tell I'm starting to get a little miffed. Okay, so our next match is the ladder match for the NXT North American Championship, which was vacated by Keith Lee after he won the NXT Championship. We have Johnny Gargano versus Velveteen Dream versus Bronson Reed versus Cameron Grimes versus Damian Priest. Velveteen Dream came out dressed like Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner for some reason. But immediately Priest jumped in before the bell even really rang. Grimes got caught in between Damian Priest and Bronson Reed. Dream hit a famouser on Gargano. Grimes got the ladder and used it to hit a running knee on Priest. Grimes then got wishbone. Basically, he set two ladders up in the ring. He was trying to kind of climb one, and then someone tried to fiddle it. He wanted to jump to the other, but two guys grabbed it, and he got kind of spread eagle wishbone on it. And then Bronson Reed hit a big splash on him. But then Reed himself got sandwiched in between the two ladders. Let's see. Reed then came back. He hit a senton on Dream and Gargano through the ladder. Grimes and Velveteen Dream suplexed Reed. And then Gargano tried to direct them to go after Priest and Grimes. I think not Grimes. Priest and someone else. I'm trying to think who. Maybe it was still Bronson Reed. But he was doing that to kind of sneak his way up the ladder, and while doing so, and he got caught. After this, Reed, Grimes, Priest, and Velveteen Dream got caught in the Tower of Doom. Big moment here. Gargano landed a superplex on... Oh, jeez, what did I say? Okay. Oh no, he still landed a super kick on Priest as he was going for a flying move. Grimes hit kind of a Spanish fly power slam to the outside of the ring. At this point, Candice LeRae came in, and Grimes was climbing the ladder, but she pulled him off. She then tried to... Bronson Reed started climbing the ladder. She climbed on his back, but then he hit a big splash off of the ladder onto Johnny Gargano. That kind of nullified them for a while. Priest chokeslammed Reed onto a ladder. Grimes hit the Cayman, the running double knee on Priest, the running Meteor, on Priest. Gargano came in and hit Grimes with a sunset flip on the ladder. Reed toppled Dream off of the ladder, and Dream kind of went over the plexiglass into kind of this general timekeeper's area, and that was the end of him for the match. And then Gargano was climbing the ladder. Grimes was climbing the ladder. Gargano got Grimes off of them, and then Gargano started to reach, but then Damian Priest got up there. They both kind of detached the belt, so basically they were pulling it back and forth. Gargano slipped a little bit and fell off the ladder. Damian Priest got the championship to win it finally. So overall, I'd say the right guy won in this. And this is, again, another problem they have with this match. This match was great. It was fine. It was fun. They did a lot of the high spots right, but Johnny Gargano and Velveteen Dream have been North American champions before. And when Lee vacated the championship, he said, it's time for someone new. It should have been people who have never won a championship in NXT. It should be guys who had won it before. Like, I know Dexter Lewis was supposed to be in here and he got hurt, so I could cut a little bit of slack on that, but still, it's like, we can have a takeover without Johnny Gargano. I think it's okay. I mean, it's just, again, there's too much old in NXT right now. I'll get to the next match when I get to that. But yeah, there's too much stuff that's been done before, stuff that guys I've seen before. I should be starting to see this next generation come up, and it seems like they're just not pulling the trigger on them, and it's just wrong. Like, we should be doing that right now. Like, some of these guys should probably be moving on to the main roster. Again, I know there's still a big situation with Velveteen Dream. I know WWE says they haven't turned anything up, but I've also heard that certain accusers have not been contacted, so yeah. But again, Johnny Gargano, yeah, he's great, but we've been down this road so many times. He's a great heel. Yeah, again, main roster time, I think. We'll get to it with the next match. In fact, let's just move on to the next match. It's Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee. God. I find McAfee to be a real mixed bag. I do not like him as a wrestling announcer. He's just, but the one thing I can at least credit him is that he wasn't trying to be a heel, and now he's suddenly trying to be a heel because, all the announcers, all the guest announcers, the guest analysts, the mainstream sports guys, they all want to be the next Bobby Heenan. Like I had to go through this crap with Sam Roberts, I had to go through it with Scott Rosenberg, and now I've got to go through it with Pat McAfee. It's just, and they're all terrible at it. They're not good heels. Good heels are enjoyable. You like to hate, you love to hate them. These guys are just annoying. It's just terrible. It's just, and also they did this vignette before during the kickoff show where William Regal said came up to McAfee and his crew, AJ Hawk and those other two guys who I don't know. They said, he said, hey, the Undisputed Era have agreed they're not going to interfere in this match. They're not going to be at ringside. Your guys can't be at ringside either. And then his crew are just there at ringside. Look, if you're going to ban them from ringside, ban them from ringside. If you're not going to ban, don't do a vignette where you... Anyway, McAfee got on the mic, runs down wrestling, says, oh, I'm a mainstream man, blah, 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 blah. I'm a heel, I'm cool. No, you're not. You're a loser. You're terrible. Okay? Again, McAfee's crew is at ringside. Every time Nicole tries to attempt a strike, McAfee powders. He did know how to do that right, at least. Eventually, the Undisputed Era came down and started squabbling with McAfee's crew, and as this was happening, McAfee got on top and did a swanton, a very impressive swanton, I will admit. Did a very impressive swanton to the outside of the ring, took out everyone, gained the upper hand, he locked on a sleeper, he tried to go for his punt kick, but Cole did his best to avoid it as much as he could. Cole came back, he did hit a bicycle kick, he hit his Ushigoroshi neckbreaker. He started to set up for the Panama Sunrise, but then McAfee fought out of it. He did a moonsault and landed on his feet, which would have been impressive had he not hit the swanton earlier. He did this backwards. And then he did a leap up into the superplex, which, again, was impressive. He did hold his own in the ring for the most part. But, yeah, he had a superplex, and then he had Cole set up for the punt kick, but Cole dodged, and McAfee wound up drilling himself into the ring steps and injuring himself. Cole went on the figure four, locked on the figure four. McAfee got to the ropes. McAfee eventually got a sneaky low blow on Cole. He went for the punt kick and hit it. Only got a 2 count. And then Cole started to do something. I'm trying to remember what it was, but Cole hit a super kick on him and then hit the Panama Sunrise for the 3 count to mercifully end this match. Like I said, McAfee had some good moves. I'll give him credit there. But, again, it's so annoying. Like, I've seen parts of his show. I watched some of the YouTube clips, and when he's serious and straight on, he's really good. But he tries too hard to be morning zoo crew, DJ radio garbage. Ooh, I'm the next hour stream. I don't care. I just want, tell a story, give an opinion on something, and maybe I'll pay more attention to it. Okay, instead of doing this shtick. Shtick is annoying. I need a break.
Frank on how to remind your parents that now Tuesday is Kids Night at Pizza Hut. Try serenading.
Tuesday night, Kids Night. Tuesday night.
Try the old codfish trick. Hire professional help.
Tuesday night, Kids Night. Take 'em.
You can't miss Kids Night at Pizza Hut. You get free Nickelodeon magazines and free personal pan pizzas when your folks order their pizza. And if they still won't take you, call Ninja Duck.
Pizza Hut, making it great.
For kids.
Okay, so our next match is the NXT Women's Championship match, Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai with Raquel Gonzalez. Right off the bat, Shirai took down Kai right after the bell. Kai dodged, Shirai tried to do some type of handspring back elbow, but Kai dodged it, and Shirai sort of tweaked her elbow in doing so. Gonzalez distracted Shirai long enough for Kai to ram her into the ring post. Kai began targeting Shirai's arm and hit his sort of kicks to it. She spun Shirai around on the apron and landed a big jumping kick. Kai then hit a big lariat. She locked on a triangle using focusing on the arm. Shirai came back with a big palm strike. She hit the Tiger Fan kick. Shirai drove Kai into the ring apron with a pendulum drop kick. Shirai dodged a Kiwi kick and then hit a series of running knees. She tried to go to the top rope to hit the moonsault, but Kai tripped her up. Shirai blocked a superplex attempt and hit a double stomp. Kai came back. She hit a swinging backstabber and then locked on an armbar. Shirai got to the ropes. Kai went for the Kiwi kick and missed it after she hit the go-to kick off the top rope, and then she went for the Kiwi kick but accidentally struck the ref. Gonzalez got in the ring, hit a pump-on spine buster on Shirai, and only got a 2 count on it. Shirai countered the go-to kick into a crossface. Shirai then hit a V-trigger knee and then hit a moonsault to the outside onto Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, which took Gonzalez out of the picture. Shirai got Kai back in the ring, hit the moonsault for the 3 count of the victory. Immediately afterwards, Gonzalez attacked Shirai right after the bell rang. At that point, Rhea Ripley came out, stared down Raquel Gonzalez, but Dakota Kai pulled Gonzalez away. Ripley then watched them go out the ramp, and then as Shirai celebrated in the ring, turned back her focus onto Io Shirai. This was fine. It wasn't terrible. I think this was a very mundane women's match, unfortunately. Like a few good bits here. It told a decent story, but yeah, this was, like I said, it was fine. It wasn't terrible. Rhea Ripley, obviously they're going to turn her heel soon. I mean, she came out in like dark black makeup, and she's got the big hoop earring piercings now, so she came out looking more aggressive than usual. And yeah, so again, obviously she's going to turn on Shirai eventually, maybe after dealing with Gonzalez. But yeah, again, it feels a bit more like retread. And I guess I'll say this now with in between. They won their vignette for UK NXT, which is returning on September 17th finally. And then after that, they aired a vignette for Tommaso Ciampa. And I guess maybe I'll get more into that whole retread part of the NXT right now. Because yeah, again, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, the Undisputed Era, even Velveteen. I don't know about Velveteen Dream right now. That's more borderline, but or as to whether or not he should even be in the company right now. But yeah, like those guys should really be on the main roster. I mean, yeah, Undisputed Era has been there, what, 3.5 years now? Undisputed Era's been there for like 3 years. Gargano and Ciampa have been there 5. Velveteen Dream's been there 4.5 years or something. It's like, I think their time has come to move on. We should be getting this next generation going up. Like we had Keith Lee and Karrion Kross, Io Shirai and Dakota Kai. And again, we're starting to build that up, and I think we need to start building that up. And they definitely need to start building their tag division, because it is just a shambles right now. Like they had to bring Imperium in to win, and then immediately Imperium starts challenging the Undisputed Era. Undisputed Era have been 3-time tag champions already. They need 3 or 4-time tag team champions. Like they really need something. Like, could we please find a new tag team, please? And not Breezango, not a main roster retread. Like Logan and Birch have been there forever too. So it's like we're supposed to be getting the next generation of NXT right now, and we're not. We're just getting retread after retread after retread, and it's hard to spin the tires a little bit. And like I said, I'm not as enthused by NXT as I used to be. The matches are still fine, but there's just no more excitement in them because I've seen a bunch of them before. Okay, our main event for the evening is the NXT Championship match. Keith Lee versus Karrion Kross. Right off the bat, Lee took down Kross with a shoulder tackle. Lee hit a running cross body, knocked Kross out of the ring. They fought on the apron. Lee dodged a punch from Kross. He then swung across to strike him, but then actually took out a big section of the plexiglass, which stayed detached for the rest of the match. I thought it would play into it somehow, but it really didn't. Kross then sandwiched Lee's arm in the guardrail and hurt it. Kross then hit an arm wringer slam. He began really targeting the arm. He sent Lee shoulder first into the turnbuckle, shoulder first into the post. He targeted the wrist. He's trying to set him up for his straightjacket finisher hold. As this happened, Lee got out of it, hit a one-arm power bomb. Kross hit a series of kicks, followed with a DDT. Kross hit a lariat, Lee got out of it. He hit Cross dodged a punch from Lee and then hit the Doomsday Saito suplex. Lee eventually fought out of it, hit a spirit bomb. Cross got the straitjacket on Lee, and I couldn't help but notice that when Lee was trying to fight out of it, what he did was he reached up and he started to tweak Cross's ears. He was doing this. Like, that was his way to fight out of it. Eventually, he got out of it. He hit a spirit bomb. He went for the moonsault, but Cross countered it and hit Doomsday Saito superplex for the 3 count and the victory. I don't know about this. Yeah. Overall, again, the match was all right. It seemed a little soon to take the belt off of Lee. I mean, he just won it a month ago, and he doesn't even make it to his first takeover? Really? I mean, this is almost as bad as, like, Nakamura and Drew McIntyre's reigns. Like, unless you're going to make him a 2-time champion, I don't really see a point in doing it this quickly. Like, again, I have no problem with them dropping it to Cross. I think Cross is probably the most likely candidate. But still, it's like, I would have liked to have seen him have a longer reign. Still, though, at least this qualifies as more of a next generation of NXT. It's nice to see Priest win the North American title. And again, it was nice that Grimes and Reed and those guys got, more representation in this. I would have liked to have seen more from Legado del Fantasma. I would like to see more from, Imperium, who win the championship here and then are still stuck in the UK for some reason. Like, I don't know what they're going to do there. And like I said, and then we kind of got a bunch of guys I've seen before. Like, they put on great matches, but I think it's maybe time for, like I said, I think it's time for some of these guys to be moving on to the main roster. I mean, I know there's the draft coming up, so hopefully that'll smooth things out. I guess it's going to be after Payback. I'm not sure it's going to be after SummerSlam, but like I said, I don't know when the next takeover is. I took a bathroom break at one point, so I may have missed something. Like I said, the last thing I saw before the championship match was the vignette about Tommaso Ciampa. And again, it's like, we've been down this road with Tommaso Ciampa. I think it's time we moved on, and again, we need to get some newer guys in here. We especially need to get some newer tag teams in here. Women's division, I think, is fine right now. They are building quite a bit there. I do kind of like the Robert Stone faction that they're doing. So again, it's not all bad. It's just, again, it's a hard transition right now, and unfortunately there's too much resisting the change rather than going with it. And yeah, it's really leaving a sour taste in my mouth. I'm not as enthused about NXT as I once was. I am going to be giving this takeover a C because of that. It's just, again, it wasn't bad. It's just too much rubbed me the wrong way for me to really enjoy it. Again, same with the Adam Cole, Pat McAfee thing. Like, you heard me rant on that, but it just doesn't belong. Like, that's cheap, schlocky stuff that the main roster does. I don't want that on NXT. I want NXT to be special. I want that to be the thing for the diehard wrestling fans to really enjoy. And it just, it's like you're taking that away. So, yeah, like I said, I'm giving it a C. Alright. So, the next video is going to be, obviously, the SummerSlam recap and review. I'll be doing WWE Payback. That's the week after SummerSlam. And, of course, the next video in between those is going to be the review of Phineas and Ferb, Candace Against the Universe. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTime for Cat Productions, where you can help me expand my wrestling coverage to stuff beyond WWE, NXT, and the occasional AEW free show.